have basically 4 areas as I spend my time and I use the resources of my firm to address these 4 areas. City council activities, as far as what I do, the city council portion would be a lot bigger, but as far as what my firm does, we dedicate probably about 1/3 to city council activities. Those include working with council members, drafting legislation, being available for council members. About 1/3 of the time is dedicated to litigation. I provided you with a litigation report. We represent the boards that are within the city. You have your planning commission and your zoning boards. These groups meet similar to what you do. They have needs that are similar to yours. We send a lawyer, or I send a lawyer, to help with each of these boards to facilitate their projects, to draft their documents, to make sure that they operate consistent with the state laws as well as the local legislation that you've enacted. You have your code enforcement board. You have your historical and cultural landmark commission. You have your ethics board, as well as administration. And I think the biggest struggle probably is between council and administrative activities, which meet each other at the council meetings. When I first came on board, you didn't have a parks code. And if you look at this list, you didn't own any of this park property when I came on board. For example, the Trumbull Crow agreement, where there was substantial security debt on that property. So versus just simply transferring the property at that time and taking on debt, we were able to work out an agreement with the county where they would keep the property and then they would transfer it to us after they paid off the debt. We have also established your fire code. Pretty much get a lot of feedback with the majority of legislation that we enact. The council is very active. We also went through the same process that we went through for parks. And if you look in the Fulton County Tax Assessor website, you are now the listed record of owner of these stations as well. And the deeds are all filed in the Fulton Superior Court. We continue to work with fire, emergency service agreements, mutual aid, lease agreements, and just making sure that they operate consistent within the confines of the regulations that you've set forth, but also importantly within the confines of state law, because there's a lot of state laws that regulate what fire departments can and can't do. When we came along, you also didn't have your own police department or a police code. We work with the police ongoing. We assist them with open records requests, with administrative hearings. This is the establishment of your public works. We have solidified the public works agreement, the Merck Miles agreement, the put your solid waste ordinance in place. We've established your urban redevelopment authority, your development authority. We facilitated your Freeport exemption. That one was sponsored by the mayor. This is just a general overview of your adopted ordinances. And I think looking at this in this capacity gives you an idea of how busy you've been. The majority of cities do not adopt near as much legislation. But I will say that other cities are more established. They've been in place for decades, which you haven't, which is probably a reason. But it is a tremendous effort administratively to keep up with the amount of legislation you adopt.